Chapter 2. Relational Growth and Mismatch Over Time. There is a particular kind of friendship that does not begin as a choice, but as proximity. You grow into it before you know what you are agreeing to. Same classrooms, same streets, same small worlds that repeat themselves until they feel like permanence. And because it begins this way, it carries a silent assumption that it will remain unchanged. But nothing about a person is designed to stay still. Adulthood does something quiet, but irreversible. It separates shared experience into individual direction. One person begins to outgrow the language of the past. Another begins to live more deeply inside it. One becomes unfamiliar without meaning to. The other remains emotionally anchored to an earlier version. And so the friendship enters a strange state, not broken, not gone, but out of sync. You are being seen, but not accurately. And being inaccurately seen by someone who once knew you fully is a specific kind of emotional confusion. Every long friendship carries a timeline mismatch. Version A, who you were when the bond formed. Version B, who you are becoming. Version C, who the other person still remembers. Most relational tension happens in the gap between B and C, because C does not feel like a memory to the other person. It feels like truth, so when B appears, it can feel like contradiction. This is where friendships begin to strain, not because love disappears, but because interpretation fails to update. Many childhood friendships don't end abruptly. They continue functioning on outdated internal maps. You still laugh at old references, still show up for milestones, still carry a sense of loyalty that has no clear endpoint. But underneath that continuity, something subtle happens. You stop meeting each other where you are, and start meeting each other where it used to make sense, thereby operating from an outdated map. And over time, this creates emotional fatigue, because maintaining a connection through outdated coordinates requires effort from both sides. What makes this type of shift difficult is that there is no single moment to point to, no argument that ended it, no betrayal that explains it, no clear rupture, just a slow recognition. We are not operating from the same version of reality anymore, and grief becomes complicated when nothing is lost suddenly, only gradually no longer present in the same way. If childhood friendships are to survive adulthood, they must undergo a strange process. They must be reintroduced, not assumed, not continued, not preserved, re-seen, because the only way forward is to acknowledge that familiarity is not the same as alignment. To say, in essence, I don't want to keep meeting your past version of me. I want to know if we still make sense now. Relational growth is not always parallel. Sometimes it is divergent. Sometimes it is asymmetrical. Sometimes it is delayed, and mismatch is not failure. It is information. It reveals where connection is still alive, and where it is being sustained by memory alone. Childhood bonds facing adulthood identity shifts do not always end, but they do require honesty about this. That love, history, and familiarity are not enough to override the fact that people are no longer standing in the same place. And from that recognition, something new becomes possible. Either a renewed meeting between present, or a respectful release of what only existed in an earlier version of time. Now, think about a friendship that began because of proximity. Same school, same neighborhood, same community, same stage of life. Ask yourself, who were you when this friendship began? What version of yourself did this person first meet? What parts of that version are still present today? What parts have changed? Write it down. Ask yourself, who was I when this relationship formed? Your beliefs, your dreams, your fears, your personality, your needs. Write them down, then ask yourself, who am I now? What have I outgrown? What values have changed? What new parts of myself am I discovering? Write them down. Ask yourself, how might this person still perceive me? What assumptions might they still hold? What parts of my past do they interact with more than my present? Where is the gap between who I am and who they think I am? Write it all down, then think. What version of me does this relationship seem built around? What expectations exist because of our history? What roles do we keep placing each other into? Write that down as well, now. Imagine you could meet this person again as two adults, without the weight of the past. Complete this sentence. I don't want you to only remember me as. I want you to understand that I am now. I want to know whether we can still meet each other in the present, because not every friendship that changes has failed. Some relationships need deeper honesty, need new boundaries, need a different form. Some need a respectful goodbye. Ask yourself, am I holding on to this relationship because we still connect or because we once did? The goal is not to force every relationship to remain unchanged. The goal is to recognize what is real now.